Let's flip the switch and get into the glitch. Yeah!
Violence in schools happens all over the world, whether it's the United States, France, Ecuador, Peru. Nobody is really safe from it, but is all violence the same? And what's the difference between psychological violence and physical violence? When we think about Asia, we often have these Orientalist tropes of passive, obedient. Confucian focuses on education, where people study silently in class. Rote memorization becoming the de facto way. When the rest of the world looks at Korea, do they see the truth? Or do they see a depiction of something that doesn't really exist? We're here in South Korea to find out, is school violence and bullying a global issue that needs to be tackled? Or does it manifest differently in different cultures at different times? What we see in South Korea, will that give us lessons for the rest of the world? Or does the rest of the world have some ideas that might benefit South Korea? It's not for me or Michelle to answer these questions. We're here to find out what some students think of this. Stay tuned for the glitch.
It was more focused on like psychological violence. Well, because I was just isolated in the class. I was treated like an invisible person. Nobody talked to me. And basically at lunchtime, I had no one to eat together. So, well, it feels awful.
Korean society makes victims go to cave, and a tormentor just lives so free.
I think it's all so sad because so many broken souls are involved in school violence. I had to wash my hands.
When I went to a new class, I kept thinking about if I do this, what would they think about me?
The student in that group gets isolated very slowly. The isolated student doesn't really have a place to go. They are just all by themselves. So it's very quiet, but it's very lonely. And
Teenage girls are really count on the group. When the new semester is start, the game is start, I have to find my bestie. That is my mission. And so if I don't have my bestie, then I have to be alone. There's usually 4 to 8 girls in one group. Then there's some a power game, who is strong and who is being a queen.
it feels like everyone doesn't like you for no reason.
As Sihyun, right? Because I've never thought of that outside, but coming to Korea, when I go somewhere, I'm always looking for where I am in society. I'm in this room, where do I have to be because of the way I have to speak to you, right? I have to, whether I have to use this, whether I have to use, how formal do I have to be? But I've never thought of that outside, so.
There's some things if you're an 언니 or a 선배, you have to be a little more treated. So they think that they don't really use violence to their 후배s, but it's sort of you have to do it sort of thing.
We haven't spoken about revenge.
Oh.
Yeah, is revenge a thing?
The glory comes out and they kill every tormentor and success revenge. And that is kind of dream to Koreans.
대리만족.
Yeah.
Vicarious joy. You're doing the same thing, bro. You're the same level as the violator, I think. So yeah, I think we should just search for realistic to how to peacefully get over that violence.
Yeah, we have to teach this is bad things, so don't do that. This is a first step, but it doesn't make sense to them, then we have to warn them. If you do bad thing, you get a punishment.
I don't think it's really important to distinguish the psychological and physical violence. It's just violence.
The fact that so many Koreans seek revenge, I think that speaks volumes about how weak our legal system is and how much we're not really helping all these people. Because
I feel like the parents, if they just take a little bit, if they just look at their children more and just take care of them more, they could notice something that the child is going through. But
It's impossible to really solve this problem, but well, it's a hot issue right now and a lot of people take this seriously. So I think it will get better.
Every educational institute focuses on how to get into famous universities, and they don't teach why relationships between human beings are very important. That's the overall reason why students view each other as instrumental beings and not a special human by themselves.
If there was someone who really stood up and helped me, then it would be really great, because nobody actually really helped me. And
have you noticed how people walk and move differently in different parts of the world? We're all victims of culture in some way, and it's culture that means things manifest differently all over the world. That includes schools, but also bullying and violence. Some of us might first think of the very overt bullying depicted in movies such as Mean Girls. And while that's real, it's not the same everywhere. In Japan and Korea, it's a little bit different. You heard the students talk about it. It's about exhausting people through psychological games and unfair treatment. In Japan, they call it ijime. In Korea, we have wangta, eunta, and so on. And it's not about what is said directly, because these are high-context societies where nonverbal communication, such as nunchi, are elevated skills. This is the oppressive silence, the isolation. It might not seem like the stereotypical bullying depicted in Western movies, but it can still be just as devastating. We are often told that North Europe and the Scandinavian countries have some of the most progressive solutions to violence. But will those solutions work in different cultures? Is there a one-size-fits-all approach that we can all just adopt? Or do we need to think differently? Perhaps we can start with ourselves, with the person next to us, the silent person in class, or at the office. It may not be a governmental approach, but it is quite human. And that's a good thing.
Let's. Yeah.